I hated my daughter's boyfriend until he saved Christmas dinner. My 19-year-old daughter Amy started dating this kid Marcus about 6 months ago, and everything about him rubbed me the wrong way. He had these ridiculous gauges in his ears, wore ripped jeans to church, and drove this beat-up Honda with music so loud it rattled our windows when he picked Amy up. The kid barely looked me in the eye when I tried talking to him. He'd just mumble, "Yes, sir," and "No, sir," while staring at his phone. Amy kept saying I didn't understand him, that he was actually really sweet and smart, but all I saw was some punk who was probably going to break my little girl's heart. Christmas morning rolls around, and of course Amy invites Marcus over for dinner. My wife Linda thought it was nice, but I was dreading having to make small talk with this kid for 4 hours while we ate. The whole family was coming. My parents, Linda's sister and her husband, our son Jake, who was home from college, plus Amy and Marcus. I'd been cooking this prime rib since 5 in the morning, and everything was perfectly timed. Around 2 o'clock, I'm in the kitchen putting the finishing touches on everything when I smell something burning. I rush to the oven and see smoke pouring out. The rolls I'd forgotten about were completely black, and when I pulled them out, I could see the bottom heating element was glowing bright orange and sparking. The oven died right there, just stopped working completely. And I still had potatoes that needed another hour, green bean casserole that wasn't even started, and a Yorkshire pudding that required a screaming hot oven. I stood there holding a pan of charcoal rolls while my perfectly planned Christmas dinner fell apart. Linda came running in asking what was wrong, and I had to tell her we were basically screwed. The stores were all closed, we had 12 people coming over in 2 hours, and half our food was still raw. Amy heard the commotion and came into the kitchen with Marcus trailing behind her. When she saw the smoking oven and my panic face, she immediately understood how bad this was. I was about to suggest ordering pizza for Christmas dinner when Marcus stepped forward. "Mr. Davis, what temperature do you need for the potatoes?" he asked, pulling out his phone. I told him 450 and he started typing. Then he asked about the green beans and the Yorkshire pudding. Turns out this kid I thought was just some lazy punk had been watching cooking videos for months trying to learn how to make Amy's favorite meals. He downloaded this app that connects you with neighbors who'll let you use their kitchens for emergencies. Within 10 minutes, Marcus had found 3 families within 6 blocks who were willing to help. Mrs. Patterson next door had space in her oven for the potatoes. The couple 2 streets over said we could use their kitchen for the green beans. And this elderly man 4 houses down was excited to help with the Yorkshire pudding because his late wife used to make it every Christmas. Marcus organized everything like some kind of military operation. He mapped out the most efficient route, calculated timing so everything would finish at the same time, and even volunteered to run between houses to coordinate everything. For the next 2 hours, this kid I'd written off as worthless was sprinting around the neighborhood in the freezing cold, checking on our food, updating me with constant texts, and making sure our Christmas dinner actually happened. He showed up at our door 30 minutes before guests arrived, carrying perfectly cooked potatoes, delicious green beans, and a Yorkshire pudding that was better than any I'd ever made. His hands were bright red from the cold, his shoes were soaked from running through snow, and he was grinning like he'd just won the lottery. When everyone sat down to eat, Marcus didn't say a word about saving the day. He just quietly helped serve food and listened to my dad tell stories about Christmas dinners from when I was a kid. After dinner, I pulled him aside and apologized for judging him so harshly. He just shrugged and said he knew I was protective of Amy, and that he'd probably feel the same way if he had a daughter someday. That's when I realized this kid wasn't trying to impress me with fake politeness or fancy clothes. He was showing me who he really was through his actions. Someone who'd run through a snowstorm to save Christmas dinner for people who barely knew him. Amy was right about Marcus. And now when he comes over, we actually talk about real stuff like cooking techniques and his plans for culinary school. Best Christmas dinner we ever had, and it wouldn't have happened without the kid I spent 6 months trying not to like.